what are kind of the main similarities and differences for you when you think about community care versus your self-care?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for it. So I think in terms of similarities, I think both of them have the ability to be healing and transformative. Um, and I'm not including capitalistic self-care in that. Um, but um, but I do think that they both have healing powers and transformative powers for sure. Um, I think the differences are really self-care to me, at least, is like taking care of my own mental health, healing through past experiences, standing up for my own needs, like things that aren't necessarily things that wouldn't be looked upon as like very savvy and like Instagrammable, right? Like, oh, I stood up for my needs today at work, like, and and doing difficult things that your future self will thank you for. So yeah, and I think it's really my definition has really grown and evolved over time and being in community. And then I think community care can kind of go beyond that for me. So just like I think it still allows people to take care of themselves, but and it's not saying that don't take care of yourself, but it's also saying sometimes it's not enough because um, we're still dealing with all of these structural things. And so I think it's extending care to others, showing up for others, building community, redistributing wealth, being in solidarity, whether that's solidarity along gender lines or um, socioeconomic lines. Um, yeah, and so I think both of them have the ability to be liberating, but there's just some differences um, amongst them. So yeah.
I know sometimes for me, like I need to take some time and resources to
Mm-hmm.
process by myself. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through something, to be able to process what's happened. And
Mm-hmm.
then after I do that, a lot of times I'm more able to engage with community as well, or talk to other
Mm-hmm.
people who are going through the same thing. And so I kind of need both. That's
Mm-hmm.
maybe my personality too, that I would do those
Mm-hmm.
things in that order. Some people might reverse it, but I know for me, having both is important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with you. And I think it's so valuable to know that you need to pour into yourself in order to also show up for community in the ways that you want to engage with and like how you want to engage. I think that's so important. Yeah.
Have that
And
because community is like the give and take, right? So
like,
um, you can do some work on your own to be able to participate in community.
mm-hmm. Absolutely. And yeah, I know you had asked about what community care provides that self care doesn't. And I think it goes beyond like a therapy room or my journaling practice, right? It really I think it reassures me in a different way um that I'm not alone in this and that it's okay to need people and it's okay to be dependent on people. Um yeah, especially I think as someone who um has you know not only in a collectivist culture but with the first generation immigrant piece, perfectionism is really, really strong. And I'm definitely recovering. but it I think it provides reassurance and like community care for me provides like that reassurance and love and support. Because even though I can give that to myself, I think it feels different coming from community. Um, yeah.
Yes, I mean we're built to need people, and sometimes we need people to tell us things when we're still working on believing them ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And like and just like also growing up I think was a very like collectivist um way of being, and so um I think it's really returning to that if that makes sense. It's almost returning to like the ways in which we took care of each other when I was younger, and kind of, you know, going through university and then suddenly not wanting to be collectivist and wanting to be individualistic and succeed, and I think we go through phases, and so that happened. And then I think now, as I reflect back on it, with all of this community, not only like being in community, but as I come back to myself more and I'm more authentic with myself, I'm able to recognize how important that collectivist culture was for me. So,